Kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt and Out podcast number 1748, Blast from the Past. This just happened. So, trying to think, what can we talk about tonight? It's Terrific Tuesday, so I hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Second day of the week, and I was like, what can we talk about tonight? And then I sat down to figure something out to talk about. And I looked at my email, and this is my email for my travel business. And I looked in there and I went, oh, that doesn't say what I think it says, does it? Oh, it was from a client I fired. Yes, it is okay to fire clients. And this name just appeared there. And it's a name that I will never, ever forget. But I actually ended up firing a client. When all was said and done. Once her cruise was done, she said she wanted to do more cruises and everything, group cruise and everything else. And I looked at Brad and I said to him, if she ever approaches me again to do another group cruise with her, remind me what she put me through this time and why I fired her. And so there was an email there inviting me to an event. And I'm like, I haven't heard from this woman in 12 years. It's been 12 years since I put her on a group cruise. 12 years. And all of a sudden her name pops up in my box. And I'm like, oh my gosh, one, she's still alive. She wasn't young when I knew her 12 years ago. And I was just like, how did I end up on her mailing list? This is the first time in 12 years she's ever sent me anything. And so I did a search in my inbox because I got so many emails in that inbox for that in my travel inbox. So if you have sent anything to my travel email, there's a reason I haven't gotten back to you. It's because I currently have about 1,500 emails sitting in there. And those have just come in the last 3 weeks. It's crazy. I tell you, it's crazy. But I saw her name there and I was like, oh my gosh, if I missed it, and what other emails has she sent me? And I go back and that was the only one that she has sent me in 12 years. And like I said, is a client that I fired with her way of thinking. And she thought I was going to share my commission with her. I was like, absolutely not. I said, there's absolutely no way I can do that. And she's like, but I'm bringing you the people. You don't have to do any promoting or anything. And I'm sort of like, I'm spending hours working on your group cruise. I'm spending hours working on your cruise, booking everybody on that cruise, making sure they're in the cabins they're supposed to be in, talking with the cruise line, making sure you have the event space that you need on board the ship. I said, I am working my butt off for you. And if you think I'm going to share my commission, absolutely not. So she wasn't very happy about that and starts all these threats and everything else. I said, I'm done. I said, as soon as this cruise is over, because we were so close to the cruise leaving when all of this went down. And even afterwards, she started bugging, well, when am I getting my check? When are you giving me your commission? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, you're not getting my commission. I said, there is no commission. She's like, why not? I said, because this is what I got in commission. And this is how many hours I spent working on your thing. And this is my hourly rate. And that shut her up. I said, fine, you want my commission? Then I'm going to bill you for every hour that I have spent working your cruise. And this is my hourly rate. That shut her up in the end. But anyway, so yeah, it was a blast from the past. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, 2012 was when I did her group, because when I searched her name, her old emails came up from 2012. And I was like, 12 years. I mean, she was 70. She must be about 90 now. Huh. Yeah, she'd be about 90 now. So yeah, it is okay. It is okay to fire clients. In the travel business, you do it often, because there are times when you get the clients that are just that, how do you put it? You have clients that will not listen when you explain policies and procedures to them. They think they are above those, and they are out of integrity. And I'm in integrity when I'm working with my clients, completely in integrity, or as most of the time. There are times I'm sort of like, I will catch myself. I'm like, no, we don't do that. But with my clients, I'm always in integrity with them, upfront with them, and let them know what's going on, what's happening, and all that sort of stuff. There are times I'm a little late on my communications, but I still let them know what's going on. And this one here, she was just so she was trying to wangle the system. She was trying to get more out of what the system would allow her to get out of it. And she was just not in integrity. And I said to Brad, and considering the fact of what she does and what she represents, it was really a shocker. And I said to Brad, I always said to him, I said, if she ever contacts me again, please remind me why I fired her in the first place. And I found out that she had actually gone through another cruise planner for a previous cruise. And he found out that I was working with her because she sent an email to everybody on the thing and copied him on the thing. And so he contacted her and said, what's going on here? He says, I don't know anything about this cruise. I'm not working on this cruise. And then she starts unladling and she starts unburdening everything that I am doing wrong in her eyes to him. Well, he contacts me. He says, hey, are you working with this person? I went, yeah, why? And he goes, well, he says, and so we actually ended up having an hour-long conversation of all the things she'd done with him that he absolutely refused to work with her again. And I said, oh, interesting. She did that with me too. Yep, she did that with me. Yep. So we actually contacted our head office and said to them, says, hey, is there a way that we can warn other franchise owners about this particular person? And they're sort of like, what happened? And so both him and I went through the channels and everything else to lay a complaint against this client and about all the unethical things that she wants to do whenever she wants to go on a cruise and things like that. And so they were sort of like, yeah, we will put her on the blacklist and make sure her name doesn't come up and all that sort of stuff. So it was a very interesting exercise to go through. And that was 12 years ago. That was, Brad and I had only been in the cruise business for 3 years at that point because we signed up and actually, hang on, our official start date was the 1st of April, 2009. So we'd only been in business 3 years at that point. Even though we bought the franchise in August of 2008, with Cruise Planners, when you go to your training, your official start date is the first of the month following when you've done your franchise training, when you've been to training. And so we didn't go to training until March. So between August and March, I was doing a lot of learning because I'd never been on a cruise ship before. I had never sold cruises before. So this was a whole new ball game. And by the time I got there, I had completed several different cruise line programs that they have for the travel professionals and stuff that you go through, all their different programs and things like that. And so I had completed all of those and gone through all the different cruise line trainings that were available online at the time. And I completed a lot of their programs. And so I was already a Princess Commodore. I was already Norwegian. I just had one step left, which was their PhD at Sea. And that one we did in September 2009 was our first cruise. And we did that on Norwegian Star and did the Inside Passage to Alaska. And that was our PhD at Sea because I'd finished all the other online classes that they had. And that was my last thing to qualify to graduate completely from Norwegian Cruise Line University. I'd also done all the Holland America ones. I had done Celebrity. What else had I done? Royal Caribbean. I'd done that one as well. But over the years, their training has changed. So I've had to go back and refresh. Every time they say, oh, we've got a new training course out, I go back and redo the whole thing and recertify with them. So I've been keeping up with that. And that's when I realized that hotels and cruise ships were very much alike. One was on water, one was on land. One moved, one didn't. And of course, I was working for Marriott at the time. I knew my Marriott brands at the time. And I was going, oh, this cruise line attracts the same has the same clientele as this particular brand of Marriott hotel. And so I was able to marry them up, and it took my very steep learning curve a little shallower because I was able to relate to that. Oh, their ideal clients are the same as this particular brand of Marriott hotel. It could have been a Courtyard, it could have been a TownePlace Suites, it could have been a full service hotel, it could have been a Ritz-Carlton. So I was going through the different Marriott brands and pairing them up with cruise lines, which because the hotels and the cruise lines had crossovers where they attracted the same clientele. And so so that was easier to do because I knew hotels at the time. And these were just floating resorts. They were the hotels on water. And that's basically how I ended up learning the cruise lines and their different, and the clientele their main clientele that they attract was because I married them up with Marriott hotels and was able to go through that process. Oh, this is like a Fairfield Inn. This one is like a JW Marriott. This one is like, like I said, the Ritz-Carlton. So I was able to go through and do that. And that took a lot out of the learning one. As soon as I could do that, man, that learning got so much easier. But I have to tell you, Princess has this really cool program. And they had, and it was really cool because what were we on? The Princess Royal. We're on the Princess Royal. Is it Princess Royal? Yeah, the Princess Royal, when she did her inaugural cruise, and Gavin McLeod was on there as well. He was the guy that played Captain Stubing on the Love Boat. Well, Princess, and they always use Princess ships for that TV show. And so we got to meet him in person, which was really cool. But they actually had a crew program that the crew had to go through, and Captain Stubing would be, and Gavin McLeod would be there undercover with disguises on. He'd be watching how the crew interacting with the passengers. They'll show you the wrong way it was done, then they'll show you the right way, and it was hilarious. I have to tell you, it was a hilarious program. I think it was called Smile. Is that one was called Smile? I think that's what it was called. But it was a really cool program, and they took the travel agents all had to go through this program as well, because it was part of the learning that we had to do. And so we got to see all the training videos that the crew gets to see, and how they interact with passengers, and how they can solve different problems, common problems that come up and things like that. So, just seeing that name there just took me way back 12 years. I've been with Cruise Planners now officially 15 years. So, it was sort of like, wow, been there 15 years. I would tell you, that's the longest I've stayed anywhere. Marriott, I worked with them for 10 years. The Air Force, I was in that for 6 years. Data General, I was with them for 6 years. Marriott, I was there with 10 years. Yeah, it's been a wow. Been with Cruise Planners for 15 years and had a blast. And we're reinventing everything and getting everything ready to go. And we are going to be concentrating on Australia and New Zealand. We'll still do group cruises and destination retreats, but we're looking at destination retreats to the South Pacific, to various different places down there that you can go in the South Pacific and get really good, instead of some of the common places, where you can get really good rates, and you can actually book out an entire hotel, based on the number of rooms that they have. There's one in the Cook Islands, and they have 6 villas, and it's like $5,000 a night, and you book out the entire villa for the entire complex it's $5,000. It's $5,000 to do all 6 villas that they have at this one hotel, and the hotel has 6 villas. That's it, and it's $5,000 a night to do those villas. But they're top luxury ones. They're all one bed. The downstairs ones are all 1 bedrooms. Upstairs they've got 2 bedrooms. They all have their own kitchens. The downstairs ones all have these lanais that go out into the backyard, which has a swimming pool, a gazebo. They've got bean bags out there. They've got the lounges. You got a beach access there where you can go paddleboarding, and they've got paddleboards and canoes, or kayaks, paddleboards and kayaks there that you can go and use. And and I think it worked out like $5,000 a night that you could do that, and book out the entire complex. And that way, and that's 18 people that was be able to sleep there. So 18 people divided by 5,000 for a night, for, you're there for 6 nights, $30,000 divided by 18 people, whatever that is. You could have a really cool retreat. I remember doing one in Italy one time with a villa. I had these guys, they were all flying in on frequent flyer miles. And these guys did a lot of traveling together, and there was 10 of them. And it was 700. And by the time we got the villa for a week, plus the rental car, and then they factored in their food and everything, it was less than $1,000 per person for a 10-night stay in Italy in a villa. Some of the deals that we were able to find were just incredible, because they got this villa, they got everything they wanted in a villa. They had to get a rental car as well. They actually ended up with a minivan. And by the time the cost per night for the villa, plus the rental car, plus their food that they purchased as well, because they all love to cook and that, and they just were rotating through cooking and going out and all that sort of stuff. But all up, it was, if I remember correctly, it was around $800 per person for 10 days. No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks. They were there 14 nighs for 2 weeks. It was $800 per person. And that's not including their airfare, because the airfare was all done on frequent flyer miles. But these guys, that was a great group of guys that went and did that, and they had a blast. I thought, 10 guys, $8,000 for 2 weeks, all up. It was food, rental car, and a villa for 2 weeks. It was just like, wow, that's incredible. And we can find deals like that. So I'm looking forward to, I like researching stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that. And so there were a lot of memories that came up when I saw that name in my inbox. Have you ever had to fire a client? In some cases, it's not an easy thing to do. In other cases, it's just sort of like, I am so done with this person. If this person comes back to me, we are not serving them. We will send them somewhere else, but they're not, we are not dealing with that person because of how they are, how they were towards us, their attitude and everything else. There has been one client that I did fire before I booked their cruise because of their attitude and everything else. I just wasn't going to deal with it. I was staying true to myself. I was not going to be belittled. I was not going to be bullied. And this person kept doing this. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I can't book your cruise for you. And they're like, why? I said, because of the way you're treating me. You're treating me like I am a nobody, and I am a professional that is here to help you get the cruise that you want. I've given you all the quotes and the information that you need. And what you're now asking for is not ethical with some of the stuff that you're asking me to do. Completely not ethical, and I am not going to do it. And if you want somebody to do it, then you're going to have to find somebody else to do it, because I'm not doing it. And I'm sorry, but this is where we end. So yeah, I have done that. 2 clients over the years I have fired. Yes. Both for their unethicalness. Is that a word? Unethicalness? One was a little too late to cancel and transfer across to somebody and have them go find somebody, because we were already booked and everything else. And they had people coming in from international destinations for that particular cruise with this woman that I canceled, that I no longer work with. And then the other one, we hadn't even booked the cruise at that point. We had finally gotten down to, he was going, well, if I do this and I do that, what are you going to give me? And I'm like, I'm not going to give you anything. I've got you this, this, and this, and that's all I can get. That's what I can get. He was trying to get his cruise for like free. And I was like, it doesn't work that well. What if you give me your commission? I went, no. I said, we're out. You guys are not touching my commission. We're out of here. Yeah. Don't ever ask a travel agent if they'll give up their commission. Because some of them, that's the only income that they have coming in for their when they're doing travel planning. Me, I charge fees. And I have no problem charging fees for my clients to put their cruise together, because we put a lot of work into those vacations for you. And so we want to make sure that you get the best of the best. And we spend a lot of hours doing research for you. We do a lot of work in the background that you just don't get to see. And we may even go to go to the cruise lines and ask for special perks for you based on what it is, and things like that too. So we do a lot of work, and we're your advocate for you while you're on the cruise. We're your advocate for you before you get on the cruise ship. We do a lot of work. So never, ever ask us to waive our fees or to give up any of our commission. That is just not done. So anyway, so that was a blast from the past doing that. And it's kind of been like that, because even when I was going through some of the stuff that I pulled from my locker, I actually found, I don't have the box in here that it's in. I actually found this photograph of my 3 boys with all of their cousins on Brad's side of the family, all the kids from Brad's side of the family. And I'm like looking at this picture, and I'm like thinking, okay, well, there's those 2. There's 6 months between them. And this was probably taken around our wedding, like 26 years ago, because of the size of the two youngest boys. And because one of them had just turned 1 when we got married. And so I was like, it kind of looks like he was around that age. So this photo is probably 26 years old when we had all the kids together, and all the grandkids together on that side of the family, and all the cousins, and they got their picture taken. So it's a really cool picture. But I still chuckle when I think about that wedding 26 years ago, and showing my oldest son's boys the wedding photos of me and Papa and their dad and uncles, and they're like, oh no, that's not Daddy. And I go, why is it not Daddy? And that's not Uncle Chris. That's not Uncle Josh. And I'm going, why? And they go, too young, too young. In their minds, Dad looks this age here that he is now, not that age that he was when we got married. It was hilarious. Their reasoning. He's too young. That's not Daddy. He's too young. That was hilarious. And then one of them we showed. We had a 4-generation picture where I had the oldest grandson. There was the oldest grandson in the picture. There was his father. Brad was in there, and his mum was in that picture. So it was the first time she actually got to meet her great-grandson, and he was the first great-grandson that she had, or great-grandchild. And so she got to meet, and got this beautiful 4-generation picture. And I showed that to them the other day too. I don't remember how I got that one, but I showed it to them. Oh, I had it on my computer. So I showed them that picture, and they're like, Dad has hair. Look at all the hair he has. The fun, they just know their dad as he is now. They didn't realize that he was once a little lad too, I don't know why some of these kids think their parents came from. But it was a very entertaining time with the kids, and taking them for a walk down memory lane and showing them pictures of their dad and their uncles when they were younger, and pictures of their grandfather and their great grandmother and things like that, and talking. And and yet when they saw the wedding pictures, they believed when I told them these are your great uncles, which were Brad's brothers and aunts and things, and they totally believed us. So I'm like thinking, okay, so Dad and his brothers have changed a lot in 26 years, but Brad's brothers and their wives hadn't changed much in their eyes. So that was kind of how funny how they worked that one out. So anyway, so sometimes you do have to fire clients, and that's okay. It's okay, because when you fire the clients that are unethical, or you just don't mesh, you're always butting heads and things like that, that's okay. It's clearing the space and allowing for greater things to come in. And with that, I'm out of here. I'm going to go walk puppy. You want to go for a walk? Zeph? Wait, Verbal. I get an ear go. You want to go for a walk? And the ear turns back the other way. She's laying on the floor down here. And I will tell you, working today with her and she was a little more active today. It was so much better. Last night's sleep was awesome because she was on her she was on her half of the bed and her little snores, and it just lulled me off to sleep. And so I got a good night's sleep last night and went for a good walk this morning. And we bumped into friends that we didn't get a lot of time to chat. And I said, it feels so good to be out walking, because when I was in San Diego, the time I usually go walking was time I spent getting the kids out of bed, getting them ready getting them breakfast, making their lunches, and getting them off to preschool and school and all of that sort of stuff. And then I'd come home, and now we're into the work day. So I missed my walks. And so with their dog, it was down the end of and they've got this long, it's longer than what we had. We had an 80-foot driveway in Virginia. This one's longer, and it's downhill. So that was my walk each morning, was to walk this dog down the hill and then walk all the way back up again up the driveway. So I didn't get to go for nice long walks with her like I do with Zeffie, because I had to keep an eye on the kids, and I couldn't take her for walks in the evening because I had the kids to watch. So my walk time was taken up with getting kids out of bed, and that's something that's been different the last couple of days. When I get up, I don't have to worry about getting anybody else out of bed and getting them breakfast and making them lunch and getting them in the car. And I love my grandkids, and I had an amazing time with them. But it's so nice to be home. Home, yes, it's very nice to be home. So anyway, I'm out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.